Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, it's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have to do. Like, it's not, you don't have to prove me wrong. I just want the truth. Honestly, I can take a no. I can take, if I'm embarrassed at the end of the day, I can take that. I really can. I've been through a lot, been seeing a lot. I could take me being embarrassed. Like, this can't take nobody not saying nothing. Like, you know, it's not fair.
This video is for entertainment, commentary, and educational purposes only. All persons are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Everything you're about to hear is based on publicly available filings, credible journalism, or clearly flagged rumor. Nothing here should be taken as fact unless specifically cited as such. What if hip-hop's first billionaire isn't running from a rival, a lawsuit, or a bad review? He's sprinting from his own DNA. Picture a federal clock that hits 0 on July 18th, 2025. When it does, a single cotton swab could rewrite Shawn Jay-Z Carter's legacy forever. Rymir Satterthwaite's story started like countless paternity quests, except the man he believes is his father owns Roc Nation, a Super Bowl halftime resume, and a fortune Forbes stops counting after the first 9 zeros. Rymir first filed suit back in 2010, then again in 2015, again in 2018, and at least twice more before the pandemic even hit. Each time, a clerk stamped dismissed for jurisdiction, dumped fees on his doorstep, and closed the window before he could slide in a DNA order. By last summer, those court costs topped just $15,000, a number that looks small to a mogul, but enormous to a college dropout trying to keep his grandmother's roof over his head. When their family tried to sell that very house to pay the debt, they discovered a lien allegedly planted by Jay-Z's legal machine. It felt less like paperwork and more like a warning. Back off. Fast forward to May 6th, 2025. Tired of being bounced from docket to docket, Rymir filed federal papers without a lawyer. No fancy letterhead, just a stack of exhibits and a plea for a fair shot. On June 1st, Jay-Z's team finally acknowledged the suit, then immediately begged the judge for more time, claiming irreparable prejudice if forced to respond by the deadline. Think about that. The billionaire who once bragged he could buy the building we were practicing in now said he couldn't cobble together an answer in 6 weeks. The judge wasn't amused and planted an immovable flag in the calendar. July 18th, or default. Paperwork tells only half the tale. Rymir alleges a private intimidation campaign so cinematic even Scorsese would raise an eyebrow. Rumors suggest a silent fixer followed the family for years. First came the lien. Then, according to Rymir, a traffic stop where officers just happened to find an unregistered weapon in his trunk, until security footage later showed a stranger planting it. Charges evaporated, but the message stuck. Months later, reports claim 6 bullets ripped through his parked car at 2 a.m. No arrests, no cameras, no motive. Only whispers tying the drive-by to the same invisible hand that left fingerprints on his life. Jay-Z's camp calls the allegations fabricated, yet never offers another culprit. Belief or disbelief aside, each story added another layer of dread, the kind that keeps you glancing over both shoulders even in daylight. Here's where the timeline turns radioactive. Wanda, Rymir's late mother, was reportedly 15 when she met Jay-Z, who was in his mid-20s. If DNA proves paternity, the math draws a straight line to potential criminal exposure, at least in public opinion, if not in some statute book. Lawyers might debate the clock on prosecution, but the Internet Tribunal doesn't recognize limitations. One verified DNA match, and headlines could switch from family feud to statutory nightmare. The Carter brand, streaming service, luxury champagne, billion-dollar tour, would suddenly hinge on an age gap no PR agency can airbrush. Online detectives point to a second alleged Carter child, a daughter rumored to receive private support in exchange for absolute silence. Reports claim her mother passed away from a sudden illness. Wanda, too, died young and abruptly, never seeing a test that might have settled everything in a single Monday morning envelope. Conspiracy forums light up whenever 2 unrelated women connected by the same man die early. Coincidence? Poisoned gossip? Nobody can prove a thing, but algorithmic rumor doesn't wait for proof. It just wants clicks. And this story delivers them in truckloads. If accurate, that creates 3 categories of Carter kids. The publicly adored, Blue Ivy, Rumi, Sir, the privately funded and the publicly denied. Ask yourself which category scares a legendary control freak the most. Nicki Minaj detonated the online pile-on with one late-night post. Funny how DNA always finds a way home. 10 million impressions later, blogs plastered DNA for Jay-Z across every feed. TikTok lawyers broke down civil contempt, Reddit sleuths mapped tour dates against every court delay, podcasters floated indictments that don't technically exist yet. Even Beyoncé's notoriously silent publicist liked an Instagram post about family secrets, then unliked it 10 minutes later. Screenshots were instant, the hive buzzed. Roc Nation stayed quiet, fanning suspicion instead of extinguishing it, and that federal timer kept ticking. Outcome A, compliance. Jay-Z swabs. The lab pings 99.9%. Overnight, Rymir graduates from clout chaser to heir apparent, likely sues for damages, and every stream of Family Feud sounds painfully ironic. Outcome B, non-compliance. The judge issues contempt, fines escalate, assets freeze, and the narrative flips to what's he hiding? A question sponsors hate. Outcome C, settlement. Quiet NDA, big payout, lawsuit withdrawn. Legally tidy, but sealed deals only breed bigger conspiracies. Some analysts even whisper a fourth path, criminal inquiry, if underage claims gather real evidence, though that trail is steep. Lost in the frenzy sits a 31-year-old man who says he doesn't want back child support. He wants truth. He buried his mother without answers, watched judges rubber stamp dismissals, journalists roll their eyes, and bodyguards glare from tinted SUVs. The more Jay-Z's brand ballooned, the smaller Rymir felt in its shadow. Now, with one court finally listening, he's staring at the finish line, unless the defendant convinces the ref to move the posts again. Should he reconcile if the test proves a match? Would you? Imagine meeting half-siblings who live in a Bel Air palace while you spent nights budgeting rent. The heart isn't a spreadsheet, but resentment earns compound interest. Shawn Carter built an empire selling the idea that hustle conquers everything, but no Grammy, no luxury fragrance, no net worth list, outruns a strand of double helix truth. As July 18th barrels closer, a federal judge, immune to platinum plaques, waits for one simple answer: swab or stall. So, what happens next? Does he face the test, strike a deal, or keep dodging until the clock writes the story for him? Drop your predictions below, stay curious, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the verdict when the timer hits 0.